What's up, everybody, and welcome to the iReach podcast. I'm your host, Paul Robinson, founder and CEO of ConstructReach, a national consultancy and initiative that aims to diversify the construction, design, and innovation industries and empower a younger generation. We are here merging education, industry, and culture with a variety of featured guests that you do not want to miss. So let's go. iReach. All right, what is up, everybody? We are back for another episode of the iReach podcast, and we got a very special guest with us today, Mr. Euwell Falconer. Euwell, how's it going?
It's going well. It's going well. It's it's hot. It's hot out here, but it's going well.
Yeah, we are. We're going through a little bit of a heat wave right now, but it's good to have you on. Thanks for taking the time. I know you are working right at the moment, and so taking this time to jump on the podcast, definitely appreciate it. So I will be respectful of your time here, Mr. Euwell. You know, it's always interesting the different guests that we have on and the different journeys that they've taken, you know, to get to the positions that they're in now within this construction industry. You mind sharing a little bit about like how you got into this industry, like what first piqued your interest, and then what are you currently doing now within the industry?
Okay. Again, I'm Euwell Falconer. I'm from New Bern, North Carolina. I went to North Carolina A&T State University. My degrees are in industrial technology. Um, um, I guess the beginning of my career in this field, I didn't know I was going to get into this field. When I graduated from college, I guess I didn't know what I didn't want to go into my major because I saw that I'm a manufacturing major, and I didn't want to work in no plant. I seen some of my friends and family members, they work in like different factories, and I just couldn't see myself just being in a facility for 20, 30, 40 years. I just couldn't. So when I graduated, I started off in the healthcare field or in mental health. I worked in group homes for maybe like eight or 10 years, and I did that. I thought I liked that in the beginning. It was easy, and I found out later on, um, even though it's easy, it's hard work. When I say it's not physically demanding, and also you're dealing with a lot of different personalities in mental health. Plus, it doesn't pay at the very end, and you quickly get burned out. At least I did. Finally, after about 8 years, um, I started to apply, um, um, doing some engineering testing. Um, this is, when you get ready to get a house built or a building built, they have these engineering companies, these testing companies that come out and test your concrete, test your foundation, test the soil. In Charlotte, North Carolina, did that for 8 years, and and then finally, after 8 years, I got into inspections and got my first job in Richmond, Virginia, doing that um, at this at this wastewater treatment plant. And then
Mm-hmm.
while I was there,
Okay.
this company offered me an opportunity to go out to New Mexico and do some nuclear QA QC work, and that's where everything really took.
So for our audience, you know, you say nuclear QA QC work. What would that be? What would that mean?
Um, Nuclear QA QC work. It would be like um, um, it's like construction. It's like doing construction inspection on steroids. So it's like having
Okay.
the Terminator or Superman. You know, everything everything's under the microscope. Not saying everything not under the
Yeah.
microscope. You know, in regular construction inspection, but it's taking it to another level. I mean,
Yeah, because I just wanted you to expound on that. Because anytime we hear nuclear, it seems like our antennas go up. Like, oh my gosh, that's
oh yeah.
very important, very sophisticated, very, I don't know, dangerous. So yeah.
And so that's another aspect. People think it's dangerous, and it could be dangerous, but but they have mechanisms in place where it's very safe. And not saying that
Okay,
you don't have
that's good.
problems. You have that Chernobyl and and 3 Mile Island and I think the one out in Japan where that flooding came through. So sometimes you have some unforeseen events that happen, but in the nuclear and really in the power generation industry. Um, they always have contingencies. They always talking about contingencies. It's just like with the weather when a hurricane. When you see they say, "Well, it's a hurricane coming." And you ever see the weatherman, and he give you different scenarios on where the hurricane might come. They have the probability of it coming, north or south and that's the same thing with these industries when you're talking to about the power industry or, yeah, we talk about the power industry. They have different scenarios that they have in place, for events that could affect um, um, the project or and it could affect the product because a lot of these facilities are in populated areas, so you want to try to make them as safe as possible, and and the public sometimes talks about the nuclear and some of the gas plants and some of the other power plants. They talk about them, but they also enjoy the byproducts of them, which is the AC, being able to have affordable gas, be able to travel and fly. All these things. This industry makes it possible for us to have a good quality of life.
Yeah, and that's one of the things that you hit on that's really important, is to bring that visibility and awareness and to show just the different career pathways that exist under this industry of construction and how it ties into everyday life. And you just speaking about how it helps with our quality of life, just making that connection with utilities and things like that, and being able to pay at affordable prices as well. And so now that is very important. So at what point did you know, you said manufacturing wasn't for you and you wanted to go a different route. When did you know that you would stick and stay in this industry? Like what did it offer that you were looking for, that lined up with maybe your skills or your personality type? Like what was it that let you know, hey, this is what I'm gonna do for a while?
I'm a change agent, so I like change. So it's just like you know um, it's like somebody driving the same car every day. After a while, like, you want to switch up every now and then. Not saying you don't love your car, but it's good to have. I know for me, uh, you know, two or three vehicles. To switch up. Because just driving one vehicle, it wears it down, or either change your whole mode of transportation. Sometimes if you don't want to fly, you take the train or you take the bus. It's all about change and things of that nature. And then construction, once something is built or rehabbed or whatever the job might be, then you move on to the next project, and then all the faces change, the scenery change, the locale change. Everything change, and being in this field, it has allowed me to travel the country, travel the world, and and I've seen things that I wouldn't have seen if I just stayed at the post office for 30 years or at,
Yeah.
or at one of the car plants for 30 or 40 years. Not saying that I mean I'm not being disrespectful to those um, to the post
Right.
office or
Absolutely.
to
Kind of.
automotive,
Yeah. Yeah.
but
Those were
um,
things that were of interest to you, kind of lined up with what you
yeah,
like to do. Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, construction does. It can offer that opportunity to travel, to be able to see different things, to visit various cities or what have you. No, so that's definitely one of the benefits and one of the things that comes with the industry, especially if that's something that you're interested in. I think that could be a plus, for you. What's been so when you think about this industry and so what's your current role?
no, I left nuclear. I did nuclear about maybe almost 10 years, but I talked to one of my coworkers back in the day, and that's another thing. Um, um, sometimes you can find your niche, and sometimes it's not good to stay in your niche. So, I know I use a lot of analogies a lot of times. And it's just like if you eat pancakes every morning for breakfast, I mean, okay, yeah, I love my pancakes, but so one morning I like to have some biscuits or some grits or some cereal, you know, and the thing with in the construction field, you can find your niche, but sometimes that's not good because this industry and this economy is constantly changing. So you want to make sure that you have a diversified skill set. So if you were to see my resume, you see nuclear, you see oil and gas, you see water treatment plants, wastewater treatment plants. You see DOD work, Department of Defense. You'll see embassy work. Um, this site I'm on right now, this is like a EPA hazardous waste cleanup site. I know
Okay.
words might sound kind of ooh, but this job is something that that I'm new to, but it gives you an insight on on this company that I'm working for on how serious that they take doing this project right, and
Yeah.
because at the end of the day, your reputation goes a long way, and
Hmm.
um, and and if you have a you, and you want a good reputation, so
Absolutely.
when somebody hears your name, they say, okay, we know about him or we know about this company. They have a good reputation.
Yeah.
It's like quality. You know, and so if you know for doing good work, then your reputation which speaks for itself. And this cleanup
Yeah.
here, this cleanup that we doing here for this decommissioned coal plant that used to exist on this site. Um, 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 we're doing a very good job of making sure that this material is disposed of properly, so so it won't affect the people who live in this community, and and
Mm.
um, and and people will continue to have safe drinking water,
Okay.
and be able to use the recreational activities of the river, to their pleasures, and that's what
Mm.
this job is doing.
You've been at it for a while now. There's definitely challenges that any job and any career pose. But what's been your biggest challenge so far?
It's gotten a little bit better, but in the beginning, it was racism. In the beginning, it was big time, you know, um, and sometimes when people are not used to seeing people of color, they have it's you know they have a hard time of embracing change, you know. But change is going to come whether you like it or not, you know. It's just like change is like growing old. You're not going to stop it.
Yeah, that they say that's the only constant in life is change, right? So, yeah, things are bound to change. Absolutely, nothing stays the same forever. Yeah.
So, a lot of times in the, the different positions I've had, I'm always when I go to these meetings, I'm always the only person of color.
When you were newer into the industry and you found yourself in those positions where you were the only black, where you were the only minority or person of color or what have you, like how did you handle it then versus how you handle it now?
Well, I still handle it the same way.
That's
It depends
yeah,
on how they
that's good.
it depends on how they approach me and
Yeah,
everything. If you respectful, I'm respectful. You know,
yeah.
and even you disrespectful, I'm gonna still be respectful. You
Mm-hmm.
know, um, I've had things said to me and done sometimes, but it's just how people are brought up. And, change is hard. Change is tough on people sometimes. I mean, it's very very tough on people. And you hear this cliche about the good old board network. You know, and that's true. That's true in a lot of fields, but but it but in this field, in construction, these old heads have to remember, um, um, the young folks are not getting in this field. The young folks, they want AI. They want YouTube and TikTok, and they you know and they think that's where the money is going to be. Like your podcast. People making podcasts up and doing things to try to generate money. But but like I tell my nephews and the younger generation, I said,
Yeah,
okay, you got the podcast, but somebody has to put up the tower. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying?
yeah.
Somebody has to
Absolutely.
build the rocket ships, like for
Yeah.
E- uh, um,
Oh, Elon Musk.
Elon Musk. Somebody got to build those rocket ships. Somebody, in order to transport those satellites into space,
Yeah.
it takes construction to build the launch pad.
Mm,
You know, it takes.
yeah.
Somebody has to do it. You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
somebody has to build the EV stations to power your electric car.
Yeah.
You know, when you
Yep.
flush your
Absolutely.
toilet, somebody has to lay the pipe down. And make sure the proper flow is there to make sure all your wastewater runs away from your house.
Well, look, Mr.
And
Ewell, that's why we do this podcast. It's informational, it's educational, it's inspirational, right? And so it's having you come on and speak about that, shed light on it, because yeah, when you think about this industry that needs an influx really of a younger demographic, so that it can be sustainable, and there's so many opportunities that are available, right? You have a younger demographic that has interest elsewhere, and so trying to show them that hey, first of all, it is an industry that pays well, and there are a lot of different aspects of construction that actually play a role in maybe some of the things that they're interested in that they wouldn't necessarily make the connection with construction with. And so I'm glad you got a chance to hit on that, because I mean that's true. In essence, that's kind of why we do what we do. Is to raise that awareness and allow them to make more informed decisions, because essentially, especially in this day and age, you see what's possible based on what's put in front of you all the time. And if something else gets the spotlight and you never see what the supporting system is, right? Or if something else is always getting visibility, and you never see what's happening in the background that made what's being presented to you even possible, then you have a limited understanding of the different routes that you can possibly take. And so that's essentially why we do this. And so I'm glad you got a chance to speak on that, because I think that's definitely true. um you talk about kind of how the racism has been a problem, and yes, that's another reason why we do this as well. and having folks on, such as yourself, to show us within this industry that've been able to do well. Um, and things are beginning to change, if you will. You kind of think about diversity and equity and inclusion conversations are no longer on the fringes. Now it's kind of moved into the mainstream of society, into the intersections of society, and those conversations are coming into the workplace as well in a way that they probably didn't before. Kind of personal life and work life, that line of demarcation is kind of being erased away, and a lot of the broader conversations that we have in society are coming over into the workplace as well, which I think is very good, because society is just people at large, and we got to work somewhere. So we coming in with those same issues that we deal with, and so it's very important that we talk through that and discover and figure out a way to move forward. Um, so that's been the biggest challenge. I think that is definitely still a challenge within this industry that we try to be a solution for. What's been your proudest moment?
Well, because I like to travel, so
Yeah, 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 yeah.
and you know, my, it's not. I have a bunch of proudest moments, but the best thing about my situation is my flexibility,
Mm,
and I found out a long time ago, in order to do well and to make a good living wage, it's to be flexible, and
mm.
and with that flexibility, um, come comes a good quality of life, and that's what you want. You know, I have some children now, so I didn't have a Yule back, you know, when- back when I was coming up to tell me that the ins and outs, the do's and the don'ts and everything. I, I had to learn mine the tough way, trial and error, so to speak. So, I tell my
So,
nephew, they got
mm-hmm.
programs um, here with Duke, like a power line program. I did
Yeah.
what was it, power line, power transmission line, something like that. It's the guys that that keeps your electricity connected and
Mm-hmm.
everything. They got programs out here, and they can't find people,
Mm.
to sign up for them. And I'm like,
Wow.
it just boggles my mind. I mean, these jobs are paying over $70,000, and you don't have to have no college degree,
Say
and
that.
they
Say that
can't.
again for the people in the back, Mr. Yule. Say that again for the people in the back. It pays. It pays how much without what?
Over 70,000. You
Without
know,
what?
with no college degree. You
Come
don't
on
need no
now.
college. You know,
Mm.
and they'll set you up. They'll train you, and then
Yeah.
you'll be like with like a team.
Mm.
And I see the guys. It's like working at the fire department. But you see how the fire department work. The fire department
Mm-hmm.
is a team. Everybody
Yeah.
works. Live in the same firehouse and eat the food. You've seen the shows and stuff like that.
Yeah.
The power
Yeah.
people
Yeah. Yeah.
are the
Shout out to
same
Chicago
way.
Fire. That's my show.
Yeah, yeah. It's the same camaraderie.
Yeah.
And they
Yeah.
can't find for these jobs. And like
Wow. It's interesting.
and I mean it's amazing. It was maybe 30 years ago, and probably 60 pounds lighter, I'll be on the
Mm.
power line. You
Yeah. Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
and there's no telling where I would be at now. You know,
Mm.
because everybody want the power. That's essential. You know,
Yeah. Yeah. That is essential.
but you got to understand that, um, you have to learn how to um, this media out here, this system that we live in. You know, it gives you certain narratives that people think that this is the only way of doing things. So
Mm-hmm.
all this YouTube. And don't get me wrong, I use all this um, YouTube and TikTok and all this stuff.
Yes, sir.
But what makes this those systems go are the people that you don't see.
Yeah, the
You
people
know,
that you don't see, people like you,
yeah,
right? That we should be thanking that we're able to even be doing this podcast right now, right? And having connectivity, having Wi-Fi, and so no, I definitely thank you for coming on and bringing and shedding light on a career pathway that people essentially are sleeping on or unaware of. And so, thank you, Mr. Yule, for sharing that. So we've got this segment in the podcast that's called Community Insights. With our Construct Reach community, we like to pose questions in there to kind of, see what people are thinking about certain things. But then we also like to bring those questions here to our guests on the podcast. And so I got a question for you. Um, what is something that you've accomplished in your life that at one point you did not think was possible?
I guess me just graduating from college. I didn't think that
Mm,
was possible. I
yeah,
had a learning ability and some other things going on with me. This me graduating from school. Um,
yeah.
so that was a big accomplishment for me. The fact that my mother saw me cross the stage, that was very important.
Mm,
You know,
yeah,
so
yeah.
so in the and I ain't trying to get religious and everything, but in the Bible, it's
No, that's all
it's
right.
the,
We can go
the
there.
yeah
Yeah.
the ones you read about in the book are the ones that you least expect.
Hmm.
It's always the you know, you know, you know, it's like when the people came looking for I'm paraphrasing now the next king, and they asked David's daddy, I said, well, nah,
Hmm.
none isn't who I'm looking for. Said, well, you know what, I
Right.
got in the field, he with the sheep. Well, bring him, and and lo and
Yes.
behold, he's the one. You know,
Yep.
you know, Moses, he's set in a little basket and sent down the river, you know,
Hmm.
and somebody the woman plucks him out,
Yep.
and brings
And then
him
he
in,
goes on.
into
Yeah.
the Pharaoh's house. It's always the ones that you least expect, you know.
Yeah, and it's people that we can, and it's things that these are real human beings that we can identify with, and I think what that shows us is regardless of where we are in life or what we've been through, it doesn't necessarily say what we can achieve, and I think that's very important, and you're definitely a testament to that, and so. Mr. Yule, I just want to say thank you for being a guest on the podcast. I thoroughly enjoyed the conversation. I'm
Yes,
sure
sir.
you raised some folks' awareness. You put people on in terms of career pathways that exist that may not have been on their radar, especially within the power kind of career pathway. And the work that you do allows for even this podcast to go forth. And so I thank you, sir, for the work that you have done, the tremendous career that you have done, the impact that you've had on folks' lives, and then your contribution to this podcast. And so thanks for joining us.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks again, everybody, for tuning into our show. Remember, like, share, subscribe to the podcast, and join the movement as we reach to build a better future that we can all be proud of.